Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial, we are going to be working on the sketching tools and feature tools, part 3. So we've already accomplished or learned a lot of these up here as far as the sketching tools go. Smart dimension, a bunch of like the line tool, the circle tool, the rectangle, the arcs, the ellipse, the slot, the polygon, the fillet, and chamfer. We've learned a lot of these. We haven't learned the text tool yet, which we will later. We've learned the trim, and we've learned the mirror. We haven't learned some of these. And then down here, we haven't really touched upon a lot of these yet. The only thing we've actually used so far is the extrude and maybe the extrude cut. So this is the start of learning some more of these tools now that we're in the advanced unit. It's going to gradually get a little bit more progressive and a little bit more challenging as we go throughout this unit, applying these different tools as we go. So the very first tool that I'm going to introduce you to is something that you might have used before, maybe in middle school. This is the spline tool. The spline tool is an irregular shape drawing tool. It's not something that you really use that much because it's very hard to define. So we will only actually use this for possibly one activity in all of TechDraw 1 other than this. Okay, so do not use this unless I basically tell you it's the spline tool, use the spline tool. Other than this activity, don't use it. Okay, but this says open the file called Spline. So now that we are in a new unit, you might actually have to switch your folder. I actually already have this open, but if I were you, you would go to File, Open, and then you would find your new unit, which would be Unit 2. You would go into that folder, and you'll find the file called Spline. Okay, so once you have that open, you need to right-click on Edit This Sketch over here on the left, and we're going to select the Edit Sketch button, just like we did for the other two sets of activities. So the first one up here says Spline Tool Irregular Curve. So if we go up to the top row, third one in, you'll see you have some different spline options. The only one that you'll ever really use is the top one. And just the spline tool, basically, you just click in one place, click somewhere else, and you see as you move your mouse, it starts to bend. It's an irregular shape. So this is an irregular curve. Okay, I'm going to hit escape to get off of this tool. I'll zoom out, zoom back in down here, and this says make a closed irregular shape. So it's the same thing, spline tool, and it doesn't really matter what yours looks like. I'm just kind of randomly clicking around, as you can kind of see. And it looks like mine kind of glitched a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can just kind of connect these two lines. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of an irregular shape. It's very hard to define. You couldn't really dimension this or anything. And if you did, you're never going to get like a good measurement. So you see if I try to dimension this, it says dimension could not be created. So that's why we really don't use the spline tool that much. Like I said, there might be maybe one activity that we use it for. But once you have your two shapes, hopefully you know what the spline tool is, then you can hit the return from sketch button and you can go up and save this, and then you can move on to the next one. Since I have the next one open, I am just going to continue. In this video tutorial, we are actually going to be working on the Extend Entities tool. So the directions say open a file called Extend. You're going to be editing the sketch on the left, and then you're going to use the Extend Entities to kind of create from this picture to this picture. And you can see these lines just continue on. So the Extend tool is very easy to use. I'm going to pull this to my other screen, and you want to open up the Extend tool. So notice I have some other files open as well. Bear with me here. Okay, so there's the Extend tool. So I just want File Open and open the Extend. Then I'm going to right-click and edit the sketch on the left. Select Edit. And the Extend tool is actually underneath the opposite tool. So the Trim entities erases or cuts away lines. In this case, the extend does the opposite. So that's why they kind of pair these two together. So hit the drop down underneath Trim Entities and select Extend. And here you just simply click on the line and it just extends it until it hits something else. So you can see this arc here would just continue curving. If I actually went the whole way around, you can see it would curve until it hits something else. Now it's not going to complete a shape. That's why this one won't work. Okay, it won't take it from there to there. But the extend tool is very easy to use. It just extends a line. So if you trim something off on accident, you can just extend it again. Okay, so I'm going to hit return. You can go up and save this, and then you can close out and move on to the next one. Since I have multiples opened up, I am just going to close out and start over like a brand new tutorial. So in this tutorial, we are going to be working on the Offset Entities tool. So it says open the file called Offset Entities. You're going to be editing the sketch called Edit This Sketch. And then you're going to use the Offset Entities tool to offset the geometry to each figure outward at a distance of 0.25. So we're going to have the top left is going to be what's called select chain. Top right is going to be reverse select chain. Bottom left is select chain and bidirectional. So meaning two, so going both ways. And then the bottom right is just making the base construction. So you'll see how the offset works. This is a very handy tool. You don't use this on everyday occasions. It's just every once in a great while you find that this is very, very handy. So I'm going to pull this to the other screen. And here I already have my entities file open. If you do not, you can go up to File, Open, and find the offset file. So once it's open, you want to right-click on the thing that says Edit This Sketch on the left and select Edit. And now I'm going to zoom in up here in the top left. And my directions, once again, I read those out loud to you before. It says the top left, we are going to be using what's called Select Chain. So the Offset Entities is up here at the top. And you notice that there are different options. So first off, we want to make this 0.25 distance. And we want Select Chain selected. So that means a chain is something that links together. So if I select one line, it's going to find whatever I selected and chain it all together. So this offsets everything. It moves it away from it, copies it and moves it away from a certain distance. And in that case, or in this case, this distance is 0.25. So select the green check. And you can see here, if I ever wanted to edit this dimension, I could simply just edit this and let's say maybe like a 1/2 inch. See, it moves it away again. Okay. So going to the next one, this says Offset Entities tool, reverse and select chain. So let's do that again, Offset Entities. And here we want reverse. And this time, I'm sure you can guess, instead of going on the outside, it's going to reverse that and go on the inside. So pretty simple. Now, if we don't have a complete shape, say we just have a line here, this says you want the select chain and bidirectional. So I'll get Offset Entities again, and we want the select chain and bidirectional. So see what happens when you do this. It goes both ways, so both directions, out and in. Okay. Next one, this one says make base construction. So if we see over here, we have construction geometry. And if you select base construction, we also want the bidirectional unselected, the base geometry. When I select this, it's going to make the base of it a construction line. And it's going to copy it and move it out. Now, where might you use that? It's very hard to say. There might be a rare occasion. I am going to actually hit the undo button and show you the other option as well. If you go to the offset entities, so I just hit Control Z to go back. Instead of base geometry, why don't you change that to offset geometry and see what happens this time. So you see it's the opposite. So it moved it away and it made the outside construction. And once again, you might be asking, where would you ever use this? It's a very rare occasion. But remember, I'm just trying to teach you the tools here. So that is the Offset Entities tool. You can hit the back button, you can save this, and you can move on to the next.